Hey, so everyone's putting up videos about their own exchange, so I figured I would too. I arrived on 5th, and my flight was kind of crazy. I left Portland at 1:35, I think. I left and the plane was delayed by, I think, 15 minutes. So when the plane finally took off, um, we got to Amsterdam and it was, I think, God, I don't even know, 15, 20 minutes late. And I only had an hour layover in Amsterdam. So I basically had my backpack, which was, I think, 15 pounds, and my rolling suitcase, which was 20. And I was sprinting through the Amsterdam airport trying to catch my next plane. And they said I needed to check with someone at this ticket counter that they had to make sure that my bag got on my next flight. And I checked, and it said that I needed to talk to an attendant. And of course, I didn't listen. I thought it was some mistake that they made. So I'm running, and I almost ran past customs. So I had to backtrack, and my plane was so close to leaving that I couldn't even get in the short-term line. I had to go through long-term. So I'm waiting, I'm shaking, I'm so nervous, I'm like a little chihuahua at this point. And I get through customs, and I'm sprinting to the end of the D gate, which at Amsterdam Airport, I arrived at E, and I had to go through customs, and then D gate splits off into two, and my flight was at the very end of one of the split offs. Thank God I went to the right one. But I was sprinting and I'm just sweating and disgusting. I'm in a maxi skirt and I'm dragging all my stuff with me, and I've got my blazer and my pillow in my hand. It was just bad. And I get on the plane and I get there and the lady says, "Oh, well, your bag didn't make it on the flight." So a traveler's worst nightmare happened to me when I'm coming to Austria, which sucked. I was really happy I put everything in my first bag, like in my carry-on bag, because I had enough clothes to last me until I got my big bag, which was really nice. So happy I thought of that. But I got on the plane, and everyone in the plane is seated, and so I'm getting on the plane, and I don't know what to do with my stuff. I'm hitting people with all my crap, and I'm apologizing, and none of them really speak English except for the flight attendants. And I sit down, and I show the lady, I'm like, "That's my seat." And the flight attendant comes up, and she's like, "Miss, you have too much stuff." So I'm freaking out, and I tell her, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm traveling for the year, so I need to have my stuff with me." "Well, on these flights, you just can't have that much stuff. We don't have that much room." I was so frustrated. I'm like, "Well, what do I do with my stuff?" And she's like, "Well, it's a good thing we have extra room in the overhead bins, but next time don't carry with so much stuff." Okay, thank you. So I'm putting my stuff away, hoping I don't hit people, apologizing more. I seriously felt Canadian for that entire flight because I was just apologizing to everyone that I met. And I finally sit down in my seat. The lady next to me looks at me like I'm insane. And the flight attendant lady comes back, and she gives me a glass of water, and it's kind of just like, "There you go." I'm like, "Okay, thank you. I just had to run through the airport." And she's like, "Well, you're on the plane now, so you need to calm down." So frustrated with her. I can't even. And I finally got out of Amsterdam and got to Zurich. Finally got to Zurich. I had to go and do the baggage claim. So I was walking around trying to find where it was. And the one flight that I'm on, they have a separate baggage claim area for when your bags get lost. So I had to go and find that one, and then I had to transfer all of my US dollars into euros, and I was so frustrated. And then I figured that the host family that was picking me up would pick me up where I saw a door. And so I was waiting and waiting for 25 minutes. I don't know, it might have been an hour, half an hour. I don't know. I really lost track of time when I was in that airport. I hate airports right now. I never want to go back unless I'm going back to the US. Anyways, I finally asked the lady when I was claiming my bag, I was like, so if someone was to pick me up from the airport, um, where would they pick me up? Do I have to go through customs? And she said, yeah, you need to go through customs again. So I almost had a mental breakdown because I did not want to go back through customs because I don't like customs at all. I'm so frustrated at this point. I get through customs and it's basically just walk through a door unless you have something to claim, and I didn't have a knife, I didn't have alcohol, I didn't have any of the stuff they needed to claim, so I just walked on through. Found my host family, which was really great. But it started to hit me that I really wasn't in the US anymore because my host mom was having the worst time trying to talk to me. And I'm so thankful that my host brother was a friend of mine from back home because he went on his own exchange. So I knew him from the district in Oregon. I was so happy I was going to be living with him for those first 5 days because no one could really speak English that well. And they really didn't want to be speaking English, which I totally understand. But that's kind of frustrating for me because I don't know a lot of German. And I was so tired. I had had a 12-hour flight and I didn't sleep, and it was 2 a.m. back home. It was the middle of the day in Austria, but it was 2 a.m. back home in Oregon. So I was so tired. And all I wanted to do was go and sleep. And they would not let me sleep. On the car ride back to the house I was staying at, they were talking to me and blasting the radio. I'm just sitting in the back seat, just praying that they will turn the radio down and not talk to me so I can just shut my eyes for just 15 minutes. And they didn't. And then I got to the house I was staying at, and I had to go up 3 flights of stairs with my 45-pound bag, my 20-pound carry-on, and my 15-pound backpack. I'm lugging it up the stairs, having to like pull my maxi skirt up because I'm tripping over it. And I get to my room and I just want to lay in my bed and sleep. And then my host sister comes in with this little rose from the garden, and it was so cute. But I'm still thinking, I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep. And she leaves, and so does my host brother, and they let me get kind of settled in. And I lay on my bed, and not more than 5 minutes later, my host brother comes up and says, Riley, time for lunch. I had been eating the entire first flight from Portland to Amsterdam, so I was not hungry at all. And I was having really bad jet lag. So I went downstairs and I was eating with them and I was trying to talk to them, and they were trying to speak German, and I would respond in English, and I think they were getting really frustrated, which is totally understandable. But I mean, I just got to Austria. I don't know very much German. I still don't, and I've been here for almost a month. And so, a few days went by and I went to the beach with my host brother and we biked around a lot. And then I had to take a train to a language camp that I went to. And there were 2 other people from Vorarlberg, which is the state I'm living in Austria, that were on the train. And I knew they were going to be on the train, but I didn't really know what they looked like. So I couldn't really tell which person it was or which people. Wow, my English is already sucking. So I just sat alone on the train for 5.5 hours listening to music and enjoying the free Wi-Fi, wishing I knew where the people were. I finally got off the train. I put my Rotary sweatshirt on, hoping they would notice me. And finally I hear someone, wait, she's wearing a Rotary sweatshirt. I turn around and I'm like, are you Lindsay and Madeline? And they're like, yeah, are you Riley? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And so we kind of laughed about that. But we finally got to Münster, which is the town we were staying in. And, we all got a room together, which was great. So it was all the Vorarlberg girls rooming together. And that was fantastic because I really got to know them. And at language camp, I made so many new friends. I was so happy for that because, it's kind of hard being a foreigner since, you don't really know the language and you can't really make friends until school starts. So it's kind of nice being able to go on Facebook and talk to them. And they kind of understand like the pressures and the stresses of being an exchange student, especially through Rotary because you're kind of held to a little bit of a higher standard, which I'm totally okay with. Anyways, I'm now in my official host family. I've been here for 4 or 5 days, I think, and I actually got really sick after language camp. I'm still kind of getting over it. If you haven't heard me sniffling, that's me getting over my cold. And it was just a stuffy nose. Actually, it was a runny nose and sore throat, and had a really bad headache. I was trying to, talk with my host family and hang out with my little brother because I'm an only child back home. So I was kind of trying to be the big sister. But it got to the point last night that I just had to go upstairs and sleep. And I fell asleep at I think 8 o'clock. And this morning, my host dad was kind of making fun of me and was like, "Well, what time did you go to sleep last night?" And I told him, I'm like, "Oh, I think I went to sleep at about 8." Um, he said, "Well, why so early?" I had to explain to him that I'm getting over a cold, and he kind of laughed it off and said that was okay. Um, but I think later today I'm gonna go and get my bank card and my phone. So I'll finally have a phone because I don't have one right now. Been here almost a month and I don't have a phone. Yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on with me. I gotta meet my host mom tomorrow. She isn't here at the house, she's somewhere for her health, so I'm really excited to go and meet her. I guess that's it. Um, I really love Austria. It's such a beautiful country, and I'm really, really excited to be able to be here all year, and I'm blessed to have gotten chosen to be here. There's so many other people in the program back home that could have gotten Austria, and they could have been sitting where I am right now talking to whoever's listening, but really happy it was me. And until next time.